All right, let's dive into the playbook for a career in civil engineering. We're going to pull back the curtain on what the job is really all about, and more importantly, how you can turn that on-the-ground experience into your single greatest asset. So, when you picture a civil engineer, what comes to mind? For a lot of people, it's someone kind of glued to a computer, just running calculations and drafting in CAD from 9 to 5. But is that the whole story? Not even close.
Okay, let's break this down. The myth is that it's this purely technical, almost solitary job, but the reality, oh man, it's an intense juggling act. Seriously, 1 minute you're deep in some complex design software, the next you're on a crucial call with a client, and an hour later you could be standing in the mud on site, trying to solve a problem that nobody saw coming. That textbook version of engineering, that's just a tiny, tiny fraction of the real job.
So, here's our roadmap for today. We'll start by busting that myth. Then we'll look at the two main arenas for engineers. After that, we'll dive deep into the site engineer's playbook, talk about collaboration, and finish up with a solid blueprint for your career.
First up, let's get a much clearer picture of what the work really looks like day to day. It's about so much more than just the finished road or the bridge. A typical day is, well, there's no typical day. It's all about variety. Your morning might kick off with your phone blowing up with urgent questions from contractors. Then, you might have a couple of hours for some focused technical work. Before, surprise, your software crashes right before a deadline. Then you're out for a field inspection and your afternoon is packed with client meetings, budget reviews, and maybe even trying to land the next project. It is a constant, dynamic balance of office, field, and people.
And this quote from Vista Projects just nails it. The real core of the job isn't just crunching numbers, it's being a master problem solver. And those problems, they don't politely wait for you at your desk. They happen in real time, in the real world, and you have to come up with creative, practical solutions right there on the spot.
Okay, so now that we know what the job is really like, you can see how engineers often find themselves gravitating toward one of two very different arenas, the site or the design office. This is a fundamental choice every engineer has to make.
So, the crucial point here is really understanding yourself. Where do you thrive? A site engineer lives for the dynamic, hands-on environment. They're the ones turning plans into physical reality and leading teams on the ground. A design engineer, on the other hand, excels in a more focused, analytical setting. They use advanced software to innovate, analyze, and totally perfect the blueprint before a single shovel ever hits the dirt. And look, both paths offer absolutely incredible growth potential. The site path can take you all the way up to managing massive multi-million-dollar projects as a construction director. The design path, that can lead you to the cutting edge of innovation as a head of R&D or a chief designer, literally shaping the future of the entire industry. Okay, now we're at the core of this whole explainer. If you do choose that side path, how do you make sure your time in the field isn't just a job, but becomes your single greatest career asset? Well, this is the playbook. This right here is the secret weapon. The best site engineers, the truly great ones, realize their main role isn't just overseeing construction. It's to be a relentless, non-stop data collector. Every single day on site provides you with this invaluable, real-world data that no software or textbook could ever hope to give you.
And here's how you build that unique data set. First, you get obsessive about tracking quantities. Second, you document productivity. How long does a task actually take with a real crew on a hot day? Third, you analyze the physical elements themselves. And fourth, you note the specs of every single material that shows up. By doing this systematically, you're building this powerful mental database that gives you an edge that no algorithm can ever replicate.
And this is the key takeaway. Look, software is an amazing tool, but it's just a tool. It's only as good as the assumptions you feed it. It can't tell you if a design just feels right. That practical, on-the-ground knowledge, that site sense, that becomes your superpower. It's what lets you sanity check a design, know intuitively if something is off, and make effective, real-world decisions that a purely data-driven model might completely miss.
Of course, engineering is definitely not a solo sport. You are a critical part of a much, much larger team. So let's look at how you fit into that bigger picture and the principles that have to guide every single decision you make.
One of your most important partnerships is going to be with the architect. It's this incredibly symbiotic relationship. The architect designs the form, the aesthetics, the feel, the whole user experience. The civil engineer then makes sure that form is practical, safe, and structurally sound. One provides the vision, the other makes sure that vision can actually stand the test of time.
And guiding every single one of your actions is your ethical compass. And listen, these aren't just suggestions. They are the fundamental, non-negotiable rules of the profession. Your primary duty, above all else, is to the public's safety. You have to be honest about what you know, you have to act faithfully for your clients, and you have to uphold the honor of the profession. This is what builds trust and ensures the integrity of everything you build.
All right, let's bring it all home. Let's synthesize everything we've talked about into a clear, actionable blueprint for building a successful and lasting career in this field.
A successful modern engineer is so much more than just a technical expert. Yeah, technical knowledge is the biggest piece of the pie, about 40%, but it is not the whole thing. Your ability to communicate clearly is almost as important for dealing with teams and clients. And of course, being proficient with key software like CAD, Revit, or StabPro is essential. And a solid grasp of project management is what keeps everything on time and on budget.
Your career is going to progress in stages. You'll likely start with mentored work as an engineer in training. Then, after you earn that professional engineer license, the PE, you start taking on way more independent responsibility. From there, you can move into project management and then ultimately to senior leadership, where you become a true technical authority and help grow the entire business.
So, it all comes down to this. What's it going to be for you? Will you be on the ground, the expert of execution who turns those blueprints into breathtaking reality? Or will you be in the design studio, the engineer of innovation, who creates those blueprints in the first place? Whether you choose to build the structures or to design them, the path you take will fundamentally shape the world that we all live in.